4 seconds to go. Missed free throw. Horford the rebound. Here's Pritchard. He loves these. Puts it up half court of the buzzer.
There are certain moments in basketball that feel like a long shot.
Bang! Pritchard at the buzzer with a three-pointer. He's done it again.
For Payton Pritchard, you could say that same sentiment could be the definition of his career. Because while something may be a miracle heave, when the shot drops, it can change your life forever.
Oh, Pritchard banks in the three.
This is Pritchard time. The crowd can sense it. Over 3 Bulls. It's unreal from Payton Pritchard.
Celtic fans brought to their feet. No. Straight cash. Put some respect on this man's name.
Payton Pritchard never fit the mold of what people think a basketball player should be. But what he did have was a ridiculous, sickening work ethic.
Man, I always just go back to the work. I mean, the hours I put in at a young age. I really think I just thanks to the people around me, my dad and them, but I sacrificed a lot. Didn't live a normal life necessarily. For me, I'm in middle school, beginning of high school, kids is hanging out and stuff. I'm working out 6 to 7 hours at the time. That was my passion. People probably thought I was a little crazy in high school. People looked at me different, but I think I was just fortunate to know, this is what I want. And so I just attacked it.
Growing up in West Linn, Oregon, about 15 minutes south of Portland, Pritchard would follow his own path. Before school, he would be in the garage, working on his handle with a weighted basketball, sometimes in freezing temperatures. There's stories from those years about Pritchard dribbling until his hands split open, then taping his fingers just so he could finish his workout.
I mean, we did some different things. I 8th grade, I homeschooled. And I didn't even really do school there, so I'm not telling people to do that, and I just really trained. I was traveling for basketball, but getting ready for high school. Different people thought I was crazy for that, but what normal high schoolers were doing, I didn't do all the time. And did I have the times where I hung out with my friends and had a small clique, but I wasn't really going to parties necessarily or doing that kind of stuff. I was really locked in, and I'm not saying everybody got to do that same path, but I think those are the small sacrifices I made to better myself.
At West Linn High School, the hours Payton put in would finally come to light. It was here that Pritchard helped lead one of the most dominant runs in Oregon high school basketball history.
There was no shot clock in Oregon, so
you guys
coach came to me and they were they couldn't steal it from me. So I just dribbled around and shot would come, then I go get a layup or pass it out, and we just won 28-30. You remember Steve Blake?
Yeah.
He lives in my hometown, so I was really young and not necessarily the best player, maybe skill-wise I was always good. He would pick me up every day that summer and play me one-on-one. And that's where I kind of developed the love of one-on-one so much.
Yeah.
Winning 4 straight state championships, Payton would become a legend across his home state, earning a reputation as one of the greatest high school players it had ever produced. However, even then, his story was never simple. Although he was known and respected with a resume that should have proven his capabilities, Pritchard still found himself being a victim of the eye test. It was something that became a pattern that would follow him for years. Payton would prove himself in the moment, only to be asked if he could prove it again at the next level.
Man, I always just go back to the work. I mean, the hours I put in at a young age.
For some players, that kind of doubt can become discouraging. But for Pritchard, it seemed to sharpen the way he approached the game. He wasn't being evaluated on potential or raw talent. He had no choice but to continue building the only way he knew how, through his work. Despite it all, by the time he left high school, Pritchard was a 4-star recruit, and soon he'd be given the opportunity he had been waiting for, 2 hours from home at the University of Oregon. When Pritchard arrived in Eugene, Oregon, he stepped into a program with national expectations. Just one season prior, the Ducks had won over 30 games, reaching the Elite Eight as the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Oregon wasn't a small stage. They were trying to compete deep into March, and Pritchard had to earn trust immediately. Something he did from day one.
Pritchard. There's a three.
That kid is something. What great leadership.
5-point lead with just under 4 minutes gone by. This is Payton Pritchard probing that defense with Hap on his hip. Puts it down high off glass.
His first run here in the Sweet 16 game, and there is Pritchard.
As a freshman, he became a starter on a Ducks team that reached the Final Four, making him the only true freshman to do so in the entire tournament. As a first-year point guard, Pritchard was learning the college game and helping run one of the best teams in the country before he had even fully grown into himself as a player. Unlike other top freshman guards that offseason like Lonzo Ball and Markelle Fultz, Payton would remain at Oregon, and it was there that Pritchard would develop into one of the most skilled guards in the entire country.
Hard work will take you a long ways in this world and whatever you decide to do. And if you put your mind to it and you grind it every day, then you'll accomplish your dreams.
He's played with 37 players in 4 years because of all the turnover at Oregon for either transferring or guys leaving early. That's amazing that he's been able to be that consistent with so many new teammates.
Over his college career, Payton would become one of Oregon's most decorated players ever, winning Pac-12 Player of the Year and being named the 2020 Bob Cousy Award winner, a trophy given to the nation's top point guard.
Man, we just love this game. We just wanted to compete, take it one game at a time, but man, we all one together right now. We brothers right now. We just fighting for each other.
Like he had done in high school, Pritchard had earned the respect he deserved at his level, but similarly was faced with questions about if he could still do it at the next.
And at the time I was scrawny, I was little, and like a lot of people did not think I would ever really make it. But I had a dream for myself, and I was never going to let anybody tell me that I couldn't accomplish it.
Payton had done everything right. He had led a team for 4 straight seasons, proving to be a tough, skilled competitor who was willing to outwork his opponents. But maybe more so than any other sport, the eye test carries weight in the NBA draft. And despite his historic resume, Pritchard would once again be faced with a hill to climb at the game's highest level.
What's going on, y'all? This is Trice, and I want to thank the great people over at Ultra Pouches for sponsoring this video. If you're like me, the summer is a busy time full of both work and play that requires you to be at the top of your game at all times. Ultra Pouches are something that I've been reaching for whenever I need to lock in or just need a little boost. As someone who spends a lot of time on the go, I'm always looking for something that helps me stay sharp without feeling too wired. And that's where Ultra shines. Ultra is a nicotine-free, tobacco-free, and caffeine-free focus pouch made with 6 different natural nootropics designed to support focus, smooth energy, and mental clarity. No drink, no pills, no sugar crash, just a pouch you place between your lip and your gum. For me, I usually take 1 patch per day depending on what I need in the moment. Sometimes it's for focus, and sometimes it's just for a little boost when I'm trying to finish a project or get everything I need finished for the day. It kicks in quickly, usually within a few minutes, and it gives me that subtle shift where I feel locked in without the jitters or crash at the end. The formula includes natural ingredients like paraxanthine, alpha GPC, L-theanine, ginseng, and vitamins B6 and B12. So it's built more around calm, steady focus than the aggressive spike you get from some other products. My favorite flavor so far is definitely Blue Raz. It tastes good, and it's been an easy thing to keep nearby when I'm getting things done. So if you're looking for a clean way to support focused and smooth energy, check out Ultra Focus Pouches. Head to the link in my description or scan the QR and use code TRICE at checkout for an additional 15% off the intro offer of 50% off your first order. Again, thanks to Ultra Pouches for sponsoring this video.
With the 26th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select Payton Pritchard from the University of Oregon.
In 2020, the Boston Celtics selected Payton Pritchard with the 26th pick in the NBA draft. The 6'1" guard from Oregon had managed to become a first-round pick. And although this was validation for the work he had put in, it was not a guarantee that the Celtics had to use him on the floor. Similar to how the Ducks had been successful prior to Payton, Boston wasn't rebuilding. With a pair of talented young wings in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, both of which had developed into stars of their own. For a young guard, that meant development would have to happen wherever he could fit in. Unlike some rookies, Pritchard was not going to be handed 30 minutes and unlimited mistakes. He had to learn how to come in cold off the bench and create value in small doses within the game. This is a difficult adjustment for any player, especially for someone who had spent most of his basketball life controlling every aspect of the game. But now in Boston, he had to find a way to fill a role, becoming a small piece of something larger. Even with the limitations, the flashes still showed themselves. Pritchard was a spark plug in bite-sized portions, bringing energy where he could during his rookie season. In fact, Payton would even find himself breaking into the starting lineup at times throughout the season, proving to bring value in his nearly 20 minutes per game. But while Pritchard had shown that he could produce, the Celtics would continue to add pieces to the rotation entering the following season, and by 2023, Payton's minutes on the floor had been nearly cut in half. This became the central conflict of his early NBA career. While Boston would find success, reaching the NBA Finals in 2022, Pritchard was left fighting for time on the floor within his own roster. For a competitor, this could be one of the most frustrating places to be, on a team fighting for the crown, but at the cost of his own development. The lowest point of Payton Pritchard's story was not dramatic in the traditional sense. Unlike other players who hit rock bottom, he wasn't the victim of a scandal or faced with the climb back from a major injury. In the same way he had been overlooked his entire career, once again everyone felt that while Payton was good, there were others who could be better. Pritchard's valley came as the frustration of being ready and still waiting, believing he could help, but then being left watching long stretches from the sideline. The situation would come to a head entering the 2023 trade deadline, where Payton would voice his concerns to the Celtics front office, requesting a trade from the franchise. Pritchard had seen his role on the floor shrinking for 3 straight seasons, and he knew it was time for a real role in the NBA. If it wasn't going to happen in Boston, then Payton wanted to go somewhere he could get it.
I publicly wanted to be traded at the time. It wasn't nothing against the organization or the city of Boston. I wanted to play. I wanted to play. It's something I love to do, is play basketball. And to be honest, there was moments where I was kind of depressed. I was like very sad at the time, and it was killing me.
Unlike many trade requests in the NBA, Pritchard's situation was complicated. The Celtics had shown they believed in him, pouring into his development and seeing the flashes he had shown in limited minutes off the bench, but due to a crowded backcourt were unable to give him the stability he needed. In the end, the Celtics knew they trusted the player Payton would become, and they chose to do something rare. They elected not to trade him. From here, the story could have taken a negative turn. Pritchard had little leverage other than to cause issues within the locker room. But instead, the young guard did what he had done since his early days in Oregon. He kept putting in the work. By the summer of 2023, Boston had to decide what Payton Pritchard was going to be for the franchise. He had stuck it out, and entering the 2024 season, the Celtics would show they believed in him as a core piece of their future. On October 8, 2023, the Celtics and Pritchard agreed to a fully guaranteed 4-year, $30 million contract extension. Boston had showed Payton that they believed in him, and during the 2024 season, Payton would take a step in the right direction. Playing in all 82 games and averaging over 20 minutes and nearly 10 points per game, Pritchard became a key player in Boston's rotation, being a dependable spark plug off the bench. The Celtics would finally put it all together in the postseason, making a run all the way to the 2024 NBA Finals behind their all-star duo. Throughout this run, Pritchard would fill his role to perfection, shifting the energy of the game with timely buckets within the second unit. In the finals, it would be Payton who would rise to the occasion.
Kyrie's got to come along.
Pritchard banks in the three at the buzzer with a third quarter bomb.
There was no time to ease into the game, but that was exactly the kind of moment Pritchard had prepared for all his life, and he would hit one of the most memorable shots of the series. Then, in a closeout Game 5, it happened again.
Missed free throw, Horford the rebound. Here's Pritchard, he loves these. Puts it up half court to the buzzer. Bang! Pritchard at the buzzer with a three-pointer. He's done it again!
The Boston Celtics would win the 2024 finals in 5 games, crowning one of the game's most historic franchises with its 18th championship. After the championship, Pritchard continued his rise within the Boston Celtics. He had proven he could be a complementary piece within the roster, but in 2025, Payton would show the entire NBA what he was capable of.
Here we go. This is his time. Pritchard fires. Oh!
Pritchard from the corner. There it is. History for Payton Pritchard. His 219th three of the season, all of them off the bench.
What has led to this burst in your career?
I think balance in my life. My dad used to always say, if you're good off the court, you're always going to be good on the court.
During the 2024-25 season, Pritchard would take his place as one of the most productive players off the bench in the entire NBA, raising his points per game up nearly 5 points to 14. His impact on the game wouldn't go unnoticed, as in addition to making a name for himself across the league, Pritchard would also earn the greatest honor for a reserve in the NBA, being named the 2025 Sixth Man of the Year.
How much does this award mean to you, considering everything that you went through a couple of years ago?
It's definitely an honor to get the award, but it just shows that I feel like I'm on the right path, that the hard work I put in and the grind and everything, that it's paying off.
The 2025 outburst was only the beginning for Pritchard. In fact, it was just a sneak peek. As the 2026 season rolled around, Payton would take yet another leap, only this time the rise wasn't just off the bench. He would start over 50 games for Boston over the season, once again raising his points per game, as he poured in over 17 per night. In November, he would drop 42 points on 68% shooting, followed by a career-high 43 points in March. The 6'1" guard had finally been unleashed, and now the NBA saw the full bag of tricks that Pritchard had spent years in the gym perfecting.
Goal and score. Great shot clock. Payton Pritchard chopping him up. Got to the hole. Oh, this is Pritchard time. The crowd can sense it. Over 3 Bulls. Unreal from Payton Pritchard. Celtic fans brought to their feet.
No. Straight cash. Put some respect on this man's name.
But I always look at every situation, like, it might not be going my way, but like, how is this in the bigger picture? How is this developing me? And me not playing my 3rd year and all the things I went through and life changes and stuff like that, like, it really made me a stronger person, probably a better person off the court and everything. Honestly, I'll probably look at it as like one of the best years for my development.
The phrase unlikely star can be tricky with Payton Pritchard because he didn't come from nowhere. His resume speaks for itself. He was a 4-time state champion in high school, a national award winner at Oregon, a first-round pick, an NBA champion, and eventually the best 6th man in basketball. The signs were always there if you ignored the eye test and looked at the production. This is a story about what happens when the work outlasts the narrative. A story about what happens when you pour everything into a craft and trust that the hours you put in will earn you the chance to shine. Now, we look to a future where Payton very well could be one of the faces of the Celtics moving forward. The unlikely star is now one of the driving forces of basketball's most historic franchises, and he does so with a skill set and bag of tricks that rivals anyone in the league. Not only has Pritchard laid the blueprint for every undersized guard hoping to make it to basketball's biggest stage, but he's done so with undeniable confidence in his game. From the garage in West Linn to one of the centerpieces in TD Garden, Payton's story was always building towards the same truth. He had to wait for his opportunity to prove himself to the world, but he never waited to do the work it would take to seize the moment when his name was called.